G'day, Bomber fans. There has been so much going on this week. I haven't even really been able to talk properly about the list changes we've been making, because in the last few days we're about to re-sign some out-of-contract squad members. That hasn't been finalised yet. We've delisted some others. That has been finalised. And now there are only 10 players that remain without deals for next season, but really it's 8. We started to cut our list down, 3 off the books, but there need to be quite a few more gone before we really get into the trade and draft period. So let's talk about the latest list changes from the Bombers. Alright, so we'll quickly touch on the delistings. I have talked about these in other videos, but I'll quickly go over them again. So far we've said farewell to 3 players. Dylan Shield was the first to go. He was informed before the year ended that his career with the Bombers would come to an end. It was actually a mutual agreement, apparently. He has been delisted. He has the chance to be picked up by another club in the delisted free agency window, and I think he probably should be picked up. Like, he was playing decent footy with us to end the year, but it just wasn't the right thing to keep him. So, not with the list constraints that we already have. But yeah, a few days ago, we also said goodbye to Alwyn Davey Jr. and Jai Menzies. Davey was one of 3 players not to play AFL at all this year for the Bombers. He played some good VFL footy to end the season, but realistically, we knew he was gone about halfway through the year. And Jai Menzies, that was a tough one, because I still really think this guy could turn out to be a decent football player, and I hope he gets the chance somewhere else to do that. But yeah, the list is getting tighter. We've got more small forwards coming in through our academy this year in the draft. So yeah, it was unfortunately time up for these 3. Hopefully they go on to find success at other clubs and get picked up. We thank them for their service. They were all 3 at one stage in their careers, decent at worst. Davies' pressure was a highlight at times last year. Lionel Menzies kicking 4 on gather round was awesome, and Dylan Shield was a star at his best. But yeah, unfortunately, you got to get rid of players to bring new ones in. In the good news, the Bombers are about to re-sign 2 players through till 2026. So my boy Jackson Pryor is going to be given a 1-year contract. That is deserved. He was one of 4 players to play every single game this year for the Bombers. He did start off with a bit of a whimper, but turned into a really solid defender for us when our backline was falling apart. He was shafted a bit by the injuries around him, because I remember some of his matchups this year were crazy. I remember seeing him lining up on a 2-meter Hudson O'Keefe. He was playing on some massive key forwards as a general defender, and that's one of, there are so many size disparities that he had to deal with. I thought he was good for us, and he's kept around for another year as a depth defensive option, which is exactly why I liked him coming to the club. You guys would know I liked him. I like the pickup. He's my boy. But I like the pickup because it was cheap and because he's a solid young role player. He's durable, which he showed us in 2025. So I'm happy to see him back with us next year. The other player about to be given an extension is Liam McMahon, the key forward taken in the mid-season draft. He played 7 games for us this year, kicked 12 goals. He started in that Geelong loss at Cardinia Park to kick 4 goals against the Cats in that game. He's a really clinical forward. He kicks goals. There are clearly some things he needs to work on if he wants to be a best 23 player going forward, but at least as a depth option, he is there to kick goals for us if we need. I think both these guys, in an ideal world, are depth options if we need them when players go down with injury, and at Essendon, that's important. I think in an ideal world, they're not in the best 23, but as we know, ideal worlds don't really work out. There are bound to be some injuries, as there are at every club, and when there are, you've got Jackson Pryor and Liam McMahon, 2 durable and reliable players. I like Pryor for his toughness and that booming left boot out of defence. I like McMahon for his goal kicking, his accuracy. I do think the McMahon signing's a bit of a 50-50 for me. You guys would know that already. We've got quite a few forwards as it is, but yeah, he did deserve it. He deserved the extra year. He showed plenty in his 7 games, so let's hope they both use this experience and grow a bit in the off-season as players. But yeah, congrats boys, you've stayed alive. And I think, by the way, like, it would probably feel a bit more meaningful for them to be getting deals in this situation, because there is a big cull about to happen. There are more delistings on the way, more players leaving the club, so good work to these 2. Let's just touch on some of the other delistings that could be taking place. I've left Pryor and McMahon off this list of out-of-contract players, even though they technically still are. They haven't been finalised yet with those contract extensions. But yeah, there are 8 remaining players, so here they are. These guys don't really have any certainty yet with their future, really, and it starts up the top with Sam Draper. The Bombers have a contract on the table for him, but it's looking like he will join another club. He is tipped to leave the Bombers as a free agent to either Brisbane or Adelaide. I'm sure that's going to be announced pretty soon. You've got Lockie Blackiston, so he is going to be staying with Essendon, I think. The club have tabled tabled an offer or in the process of tabling an offer for him, and I'm sure that'll be announced soon as well. Blackiston will be with the club on a 1-year deal for 2026. Jaden Laverty doesn't have a contract offer yet, but he is meeting with other clubs and looking for more options elsewhere. He wants security, and we aren't going to give that to him. The Giants are keen. I expect him to leave as a free agent. I'm not even 100% sure that the Bombers would intend to keep him if he didn't get interest elsewhere. Todd Goldstein, he is open to, or has been open to playing on at stages this year. I think the club is going to be waiting until Sam Draper to make a decision here. Like, if Draper stays, I think Goldie might be forced out, but there is every chance that he goes around again if Draper was to join Brisbane or Adelaide, especially because our other ruck, Nick Bryan, is out of the early stages of next year with that knee injury. Will Setterfield, there is real uncertainty around his future. He's got that Liz Frank issue that is going to take a long time to properly recover from, and that has really stalled his career. There's every chance the Bombers let him go. In fact, that's what I expect. I think Setterfield might be unlucky and get delisted. Ben Hobbs is a really interesting one. He doesn't have an offer yet from the club. He doesn't have heaps of external interest, and I suspect he'll be made to wait until the end of the trade period, either to see if a club comes to pay for him or to see if we have room on our list for him. Same with Lamond Lowell. I would expect the club to re-sign him after the trade period. Sometimes there are players who the club keep in limbo, but with the expectation to sign. So the reason you'd keep him unsigned is in case any unexpected trades were to eventuate that could potentially improve on his list spot. So I don't think he's going to be signed up straight away like Pryor and McMahon. But yeah, Oscar Smart, he's the last one. I personally can't see him being kept on for next year. I think he's probably going to be delisted. And if I had to guess, I'd say there's maybe another batch before the trade period of delistings. And I wouldn't be surprised if Setterfield and Smart are included in that batch. My prediction is that those two are delisted, and the rest kind of depends on what is happening with possible incoming players. I think there is a lot for the club to be working out still. And before we go, there is just one contracted player that I feel like I have to talk about because I'm seeing his name pop up a little bit. We don't want to speculate on this sort of stuff because it's kind of out of his control a bit, and like, I don't care about, Cox being a magnificent player going forward. I'd rather him just be a healthy person. But yeah, Nik Cox, so he was initially cleared to continue playing footy by the independent concussion panel. He was going to be playing footy in 2026, taking the whole 2025 off. That's great, but the panel is apparently set to meet again in October to reassess, and that is after the trade period, which honestly doesn't really matter too much in this scenario because he's contracted. If he was out of contract, this would be a very different story. It would be incredibly frustrating and difficult for both the club and Cox to navigate. But the deal here is he's contracted. He will play next year if he's allowed to, or if the panel meets again and decides that maybe the best move for his body is retirement, then unfortunately he may not play. And I'm talking about this because I have seen a few people, talking about delisting Cox and offloading him. The way I see it, I think Cox is on the list until he isn't. And if the panel in October decide he isn't fit to play, then he won't be. I think the Bombers will just be going about business as usual, assuming that Cox is going to be playing footy next year. And if he retires, then it gives the club one more list spot to either fill during the draft or keep through to the SSP period. But no, I don't think the club is really losing heaps of sleep over the Cox situation, as in from a list management viewpoint. And I don't think they're going to be delisting him a year early. I personally, I hope he gets better and is able to play footy next year and prove us all wrong. But yeah, that is that. That is all really. Just a quick little contract update video. There's plenty more to come. Honestly, too much more to come. They need to chill with the off-season news. The silly season has really begun for us. I feel like I've been updating you guys too much on this sort of stuff, but there is a fair bit going on, so it's going to be a busy period for Bomber fans. Cheers for watching, guys. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and go Bombers.